Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to, this video is about what are the financial milestones that you should have achieved by the age of 32. You'd be surprised, why did I choose 32 and not 30? Because it takes a couple of years for a person to realize that he's no longer in his 20s and he should now take charge of his life. So therefore 32 is the age when people look at how much insurance do I need, how much I will also retire. It's also an age when you lose a classmate to heart attack, or you something like that happens, or a classmate's elder brother who's 35 dies of a heart attack. You meet at the crematorium and suddenly you were woken up to the fact that you are mortal, because till in your 20s you think you are immortal, nothing happens. Even if there is some death, it is some accident, so you just ignore it and you say, so sad that he was crossing the road or crossing the track or something, or his plane crashes, anything like that, right? So that is not really attributed much to age. But suddenly when a 35-year-old elder brother of a classmate or somebody dies, or could be a cousin or anybody dies, then suddenly you are woken up, brought down to earth. And so 32 is a time when people take stock of their life and see what they should have achieved. So let me go, this is not in any particular order, this is as I think. And so first thing, you should have by now become financially independent. You are earning enough to support your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is now not being supported by your parents. Maybe your father pays for an occasional vacation, but it is not something which you need your father to pay. You can do it yourself. Incidentally your father said, oh, it's my birthday, let's go for a vacation. That's different, but you can afford to do all those things. If you can't afford to do all those things, you need to increase your income or scale down your lifestyle. Don't live your lifestyle on the basis of your father's money, right? That luxury you should have lost by 24, 25, 26 maybe, but at 32 you should be financially independent. You should be able to live in your own house. Even if you're staying with your parents, you should be willing to pick up the tab for your expenses, electricity, everything. You should be running the household and not your parents, right? So I'm just assuming that you're a man. Same thing would apply even to a woman, that you start being independent financially is maybe by the age of 28, 27, 28 itself, but by 32 you should have definitely achieved. Another important thing is most of your student loan should have been repaid, unless of course you're a doctor, because you've just started earning, or not yet started earning, you've just completed your education. So maybe your education, you have paid a part of your educational loan, or you paid your educational loan in full. Another important thing is maybe you have already spent some money in buying yourself some toys, that 2 lakh rupee motorcycle or things like that. You have more or less finished buying some of your toys, your 2 lakh rupee motorcycle or a 3 lakh rupee motorcycle, either on EMI or with your own money or whatever. So now you might be interested in buying the bigger things of life. This is this age when people suddenly start looking at buying a house. Maybe you're married, maybe your wife thinks that you should live in your own house, maybe your parents think that buying a house is a good idea. I'm not getting into whether you should buy a house or no. I'm just saying, if you are you ready to buy a house? The next thing is, you've started your SIPs, and at least one SIP is now planned for your retirement. You're not going to touch it till you retire. 22 is a good age to start, but if you have not started at 22, at least at 32 make a start, because your retirement could be at 50 and not at 60 like it was for your dad or mom. So be ready for an early retirement. Another important thing is have multiple skills, because it's very unlikely that you will have one job. I'm sure you'll have 4 or 5 jobs, and you will have some 10 types of jobs that you do. You could do sales, you could do marketing, you could do training, you could do other types of communication, could be anything, right? So all these things you need to be prepared for. So you would have invested a lot in your own skills, of improving your own skills, and you would have spent some money doing that, right? So your SIPs, your training, your investing in yourself, all these things would have definitely started. you have made your nominations for your provident fund, etc. If your mother was the nominee, you change it to your wife. Similarly, you should have, if you bought a property, you should have made your will. You should have convinced your parents that they should have made a will. You should have adequate term insurance and adequate medical insurance, immaterial of whether your company gives you medical insurance, because a big company like a TCS or an Infosys gives you medical insurance, but you join a small startup, there is a chance that they won't give you medical insurance. They will give you a higher CTC. So it's always necessary that you should take your own medical insurance, right? Things could go wrong, you could lose your job, you would be forced to change, anything could happen. You might be attracted to join a friend who is got a good startup. Any of these things could happen. You need to have a life insurance of your own. You should have a term insurance of your own. You should have a medical insurance of your own. It's important to have all that. If you bought a house, you should have written a will. You should convince your parents that they should have a will. If your parents do not have medical insurance, at 32 you are already married, or you are decided to get married, and you have also decided with whom you are going to get married to. This is a good stage to talk about what your financial relationship is going to be in your marriage. If your wife's brother asks you for a loan, will you give it? If your sister asks you for a loan, will you give it? If your parents ask for financial assistance which you think will not come back, how are you going to deal with it, right? All those things. What is your idea of a great vacation? How much should you spend on vacation? How much should be your, unfortunately or fortunately, in at least among Hindus, I do not know that there is some specific pre-marital counseling by anybody, right? It hardly happens. Whether it is religious, financial, nothing happens. At least the church I have seen people being called for counseling. There they also talk about money. We don't. And parents think, oh, what is there to talk about money? Paisa to haath ka mail hai. It's not necessary that you know how to handle another person's aspirations. Till now, if you have not got married, you have just to meet your own aspirations. You on a Monday morning, you decide that next Saturday, Sunday, you're going to go somewhere. You just go. Now you have to ask your spouse or your girlfriend, whoever it is. You have still not, if you have still not married. So decide how much you will spend, who will spend how much on vacation, what gifts they will give for weddings, which weddings will you attend, will both of you attend. All these things are far more important than talking about sweet nothings which people tend to talk. I think I have a video on what to talk before marriage, so have a look at that also. This talk will also lead you to what kind of a lifestyle you can afford, in terms of where can you afford to stay, what is the size of the house, what are the vacations you take, right? All those things are important to talk about at this stage, if you have not already talked about, and if you're not already married. Even if you're married, go ahead and talk about these things, because when the problem actually comes, when her brother asks for a loan or your brother asks for a loan, don't make rules at that stage. Both you and your spouse will feel aggrieved that, oh, this is not fair. So make the rules today, so that when the event happens, wherever, whether it may not happen at all, at least be prepared for it. If your parents own a house, make sure that they have made a will. If you have bought a house, make sure that you have made a will. Just saying me and my wife are joint owners does not help. Both of you should make a joint will or an independent will. That's important. I'm not even saying buy a house, but I'm saying be prepared to buy a house. If you are going to buy a house, start taking the necessary steps. I think I'm done with it. Thank you.